Hello and welcome to HBM's Crypto Corner for Wednesday, June 10th, 2020. We have several things to talk about, so let's get started. Russian monologist Dimitri has passed away. Unfortunately, he passed away on June 1st of this year. This says May 28th, but that's actually a typo. It was actually June 1st. He was 88 years old. This is his most recent book, Making of Hominology. In fact, he coined the term hominology. I have this book and I've read it. It's really good. And here he is with Igor Burtsev, who is still with us, and someone named Vadim Makarov. And this was from 2010. Worked first as a teacher and later as a Russian-English translator. Took part in Marie-Jeanne Kaufmann's expedition in search of the Almas in the Caucasus Mountains. Later made reconnaissance trips into the same region on his own. He coined the terms hominology and hominologist. He is also responsible for naming Patty, the Patterson-Gimlin film creature. He gave her the name Patty Bigfoot. Here's his other books. And here's a photo with John Green and Grover Krantz, and this is George Haas. They're all passed away. Very sad. It's very unfortunate. But hey, he lived a long life. And I think his studies of hominology are going to go far whenever a discovery is made. An actual discovery. And killing one might be the surest way of that. Here's an article from last year, Killing Sasquatch, the debate between law, science, and conservation. The skeptics say, well, if Sasquatch is real, why haven't we brought in a body by now? And the author of this article, Micah Hanks, asks, well, how many responsible hunters would be willing to risk imprisonment? It might not be punishable by imprisonment. Now, there have been unsafe field practices which have resulted in tragedies, no question, in which hunters, just unrelated to anything Sasquatch, have been shot and killed. There was an individual occurrence in which an individual said he was nearly shot by someone else. Later, this person claimed he had mistaken the target shooter for a Sasquatch. I thought you were Bigfoot, a shooter allegedly told the victim. I don't target practice, but if I see something that looks like Bigfoot, I just shoot at it. Now, the article says that it's not a good idea to shoot at something that you don't know exactly what it is. If you cannot identify your target, then it's not a good idea to shoot it, because you could be shooting a person, an actual person, not a Sasquatch, but a person. Of course, there was the famous ordinance, 1969, Skamania County, Washington. Shooting a Sasquatch is a $10,000 fine, and punishable by 5 years in prison. There was the partial repeal of that ordinance in 1984, reducing it to just a misdemeanor charge, as bringing felony charges even in the unlikely event of a Sasquatch slaying falls outside the county's jurisdiction. Even without ordinances specifically pertaining to Sasquatch, many states have different laws about how animals recognized as non-game and non-protected species are handled under the law. So there's, I mean, Sasquatch may not be technically protected under the law, but it sort of is. Grover Krantz, of course, he was quite sure that only a specimen being brought in was what was required. Now, I'm going to say something. I myself would never shoot a Sasquatch. I don't recommend anybody shoot a Sasquatch unless in self-defense. I mean, that's about the only way I would say you should shoot a Sasquatch. I don't think you should shoot one that's just walking around and not doing anything harmful. Although Grover Krantz said if after one has been killed, it should be made unlawful for anyone to harm the creatures thereafter. I agree with that. I agree. No, I personally think the only way you should kill a Sasquatch is in self-defense. I mean, yes, I've gone on the stump, as it were, in my soapbox, saying yes, a specimen should be brought in. But I guess up until now, I haven't been clear in how I would want that specimen brought in. I hope I've cleared that up for everybody. That the only way I would advocate it is if your life is absolutely in danger. Here's an interesting article about Bigfoot scaring hikers in North Michigan Lower Peninsula. Individual says he hasn't really talked about this much because when he does, he gets made fun of. People laugh and they think of him differently. But apparently he and his cousin had a sighting. It was of a head and it was snorting. The creature was snorting. Nobody believes him apparently. You're going to come across that where nobody believes your sighting. I've come across that, and I understand that people can be skeptical, especially if you don't have any physical evidence of what you saw. But this individual is telling an interesting story. Is it true? Maybe. Who knows? Finally, is there a dinosaur in our rivers? Actually, no. It's alligator gar. Now look at that. These are alligator gar. This article is about alligator gar. And how, I mean, they can get pretty big. Look at, that's a pretty good sized fish right there. World record caught in Mississippi in 2011 weighed 327 pounds and probably was at least 95 years of age. Happened in Issaquah County. Issaquah County is not very far from here. may surpass the standing IGFA record for the species by nearly 50 pounds. Measured 8 feet 5.25 inches with a 47.95 inch girth. The current all-tackle world record alligator gar had weighed 279 pounds and was caught from the Rio Grande River in Texas in 1951. Now here's one from Moon Lake, Mississippi. A large alligator gar. Whew, that's a big fish. Now, are alligator gar considered cryptozoological? No. But a dinosaur would be. But no, folks, this is not a dinosaur. This is just a regular, everyday occurring fish. Nothing unusual about it. People catch them all the time, I think. Well, I decided to take a look at the Sasquatch Summit website. Apparently, yes, it's on. Apparently, the Sasquatch Summit will be taking place at the Quinault Beach Resort and Casino in Ocean Shores, Washington this November 20th through the 23rd. Speakers so far: Peter Byrne, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Bob Gimlin, and the Olympic Project. So they are going on ahead with this event, obviously. Despite the threat of COVID-19. And of course, all the other events that I've discussed here are going on as planned, as far as I know. Interesting. And that's going to do it for this week's edition. We want to thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are the heart of the show. And until 2 weeks from now, y'all be good or be good at it. This is May-HBM's Crypto Corner.